First at 5, after the mass shooting in Orlando, students at McMurray got together to pray for a change.
Plus, how the residents in Cisco are trying to stay cool with all of the heat we are experiencing.
And why the state of Texas is looking to redefine what it means to be a psychologist. Abilene's local news starts right now.
From Abilene's first television station, your news in your community. This is KRBC, Abilene's local news at 5.
Good evening, I'm Dane Murray.
And I'm Randy Turner. Thanks for joining us. 49 people died this past weekend, more than 50 injured in a devastating mass shooting in an Orlando club. The shooting was not the first one this year, but it has definitely shaken and impacted many people all over. And students at McMurray University came together to pray for a change.
KRBC's Anavid Reyes is live at McMurray University with all of the details on their vigil. Anavid, the Orlando mass shooting is very devastating. What can you tell us about the vigil that students at McMurray held today?
Dane and Randy, there's been at least 1,000 mass shootings here in the U.S. in the past 3.5 years. And today, students and faculty at McMurray University came together to honor the fallen in the Orlando shooting. Now, all who were moved by the event gathered in silence at the university's chapel to pray and remember the 49 victims whose lives were taken too soon. Though it can be recognized that the LGBT community's beliefs are not necessarily the same as those who follow Christianity, the university says that it could never hold any significant weight in a time for change.
We want to be supportive of all of our students, and we want to express the love of God in a genuine way toward anyone and everyone.
Waters also expressed that yes, this was a small service and it won't change all of the world's problems, but at least it's a step to being part of the solution. Reporting live in Abilene, Anavid Reyes, KRBC News. Back to you in the studio.
Anavid, thank you. She will have more on how students at McMurray are dealing with the Orlando mass shooting coming up tonight at 6.
Well, in this first check of weather, storms on 3D Live radar. As we look at the big country, you can see that we are storm-free so far, but storms have turned severe well north of our region, these moving toward the east. And then we have a larger area of strong storms in eastern New Mexico moving into West Texas. So we'll watch to see if these storms may venture toward our western viewing area in the next few hours. Extreme heat ahead. Double check for kids and pets in the car. Don't leave them in there, please. If you work outside, take regular breaks. Stay hydrated. Drink plenty of water. A nice view out there today. A few clouds at the KRBC transmitter 15 miles southeast of town. In addition to current temperatures in the mid-90s at the airport in Dyess, our dew points are in the low 70s. It makes it sultry and dangerously hot. And here are your expected temperatures for the next 12 hours. Skies stay mostly clear the next 3. Increasing clouds after sunset through overnight. Lows in the middle 70s by early tomorrow morning.
Cisco is still without drinkable water except for what you can get from the water distribution points, and they are in stage 3 water restrictions. So how are those in Cisco staying cool for the summer? KRBC's John McMichael headed east to find out.
Out here in Cisco, it's hot, it's humid, it's about 95 degrees, and with stage 3 water restrictions in place, it means there's 0 water in the city pool, and the lake is still closed off due to possible contaminations. And so we talked to the mayor and asked him, what are citizens doing to keep cool during the summer heat?
A lot of people that would normally be recreating on the lake can't. So our kids are just finding other ways to stay active and stay cool. Air conditioning works really well for that, but the normal activities we just don't have a lot of right now. So we're kind of restricted and we just have to do the best we can.
Tonight at 6, we're going to take a look into how one family is using a very unique way to beat the summer heat. So you'll have to stay tuned for that. Reporting out here in Cisco, I'm John McMichael, KRBC News.
All right, John, thank you. He will have more on the Cisco water situation coming up at 6, as he just said. Cisco has laid plans to build a new water treatment plant at a new location to avoid a similar problem in the future. But that means for about a year, the town will have to use a rented water treatment facility that costs about $40,000 each month and only puts out around 1 million gallons of water. That amount is only half of what the town's old system put out, which is why the city is under stage 3 water restrictions.
So as long as we're just doing household needs, 1 million gallons a day will satisfy our need. We just don't want to be wasteful.
Now, the mayor projects that the boil water notice could be lifted as soon as 2 weeks, and from that point, people will have to conserve water and use only 1 million gallons a day. Going over could mean going back to a boil water warning.
And today in downtown Cisco, the Chamber of Commerce threw a thank you luncheon for all the first responders and the city workers and their families who have been an integral part in dealing with Cisco's water crisis.
We got together as the Cisco Chamber with a bunch of our members and said we really need to do something for our city employees and everybody that's helped so hard working on our water situation.
The meal was hamburgers, chips, and of course, bottled water. It's out with the old, in with the new. 4 former Walmart Express locations in the Big Country will soon get a makeover. They're going to become a Brookshire's grocery store. The former Walmart Express buildings in Anson, Haskell, Merkel, and Winters will be transformed into spring markets. Several Merkel residents tell KRBC they're looking forward to having another grocery store in town again.
I'm actually very excited about it. I was really upset that Walmart was closed down, and some of the groceries that you would want to buy at the Walmart, you'd have to go all the way to Abilene ever since that closed down. So I'm very excited about the Brookshires coming.
A press release from Brookshire Grocery Company says the stores will open this summer after the acquisition closes in July.
The state of Texas is now looking to redefine what it means to be a psychologist. The decision to make this change comes after the Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals ruled in favor of a Texas Republican Senate candidate, Mary Lou Serafin. Serafin referred to herself as an Austin attorney and psychologist during her 2010 campaign, despite not having a degree in psychology or a license to practice in the state of Texas. According to court documents, Serafin argued that she is a psychologist, according to the current Texas definition, because she, quote, studies the mind and behavior. Serafin won the case in January, but the court gave Texas lawmakers the opportunity to narrow the definition during the upcoming legislative session.
So what this court basically did said, you need to narrow the definition a little bit. Narrow the definition so it'll only encompass those individuals that have the training, have a doctoral degree in psychology, and are licensed by the state of Texas.
White said changing the definition would eliminate individuals like golf coaches or yoga instructors. He said those individuals fall under the state's current definition of psychology, even though they are not titled or licensed as a psychologist.
Now, your first alert forecast with Chief Meteorologist Randy Turner.
Above normal temperatures, higher than normal dew point temperatures, it all adds up to sultry and dangerously hot conditions. And because of what I just mentioned, we do have some of our counties here under a heat advisory in the KRBC viewing area. Haskell and Throckmorton counties have been added that through Thursday evening, have been added into Stevens, Eastland, and Comanche's existing heat advisory. So far, those are the only counties. These counties more likely to reach that 105-degree mark as far as the heat index is concerned tomorrow. As we look at 3D Live Radar, we don't have anything going on yet in the Big Country. It's all to the north of us, and these are some big thunderstorms producing some golf ball-sized hail and some strong winds up here in between Childress and Plainview up across the eastern Texas Panhandle. More organized thunderstorms out across eastern New Mexico coming into Hobbs. Lots of rain, lots of lightning, and some small hail in those. And then out in the mountains of southwest Texas, our typical afternoon mountainous thunderstorms that will stay in that area. So as you look at Texas as a whole, you find most of the state is rain-free. It's in the west and the southwest as well as the eastern Texas Panhandle. Temperatures, that's the main concern that we have right now. Look at Knox City. They have hit 100 degrees today, triple-digit heat there. Generally in the mid to upper 90s elsewhere across the Big Country. I've talked about the dew points, the measure of moisture, the low levels of the atmosphere. A lot of this is coming out of the ground, just evaporating, so it just brings the moisture content of the air into the upper 60s and low 70s. So you factor that into the temperature, it feels like it's 101 right now in Abilene. This is what we're talking about. Feels like 105 in Stanford. Generally close to or above 100 is the feel-like temperature all across the region today. That's not going to change. We'll have it day after day for the next few. Lubbock's actual temperature is 101 at this time. That's the hot spot in the state. And then we have middle 90s, pretty common elsewhere across the region. Thunderstorm outlook for tonight. If we see storms, they'll be more likely from Knox County back to Sterling County and west, and that would include Sweetwater and Snyder, Jayton, Aspermont areas. Tomorrow, fewer thunderstorms, same areas though to the west and north of Abilene. High pressure, the big bubble of hot air in the upper levels of the atmosphere taking over now. Hazy, hot, and humid days ahead with afternoon highs from 95 to 100. That drives up the heat index from 100 to 105. So let's look to tomorrow and see what the feels like forecast is. Noon Thursday. This is how it should feel to you out there all across the region. Middle 90s. Getting into mid-afternoon, upper 90s for our feels like heat index here, and some triple digits popping up later on in the evening hours too. This is your forecast for tonight. I will include a few thunderstorms this evening and through about midnight tonight, primarily western counties, Snyder, Colorado City, maybe Aspermont up that direction. Otherwise, no rain for most of us. Partly cloudy skies, low temperature tonight of 76 degrees, and tomorrow 96, mostly sunny and just sultry, hot with a south wind at 10 to 20 miles per hour. Here's your forecast for the next 7 days. And hot, muggy conditions will persist through the weekend. We're looking at the upper 90s, cooling a few degrees, but not much. Sunday, Father's Day, and the calendar tells us Monday is the first official day of summer. You know what to do. Drink plenty of water. Don't overdo it. Basically, just find a cool spot until further notice.
Sounds good. Thank you, Randy. Coming up on your local news first at 5, well, it pays to eat plants. What serious medical issues you can avoid by eating more of a plant and vegetable-based diet. And the tiny house trend is making its way to West Texas. What prompted a New York native to cross the country and set up his humble abode in the South Plains.
You're watching KRBC, Abilene's local news, with Dane Moray and Chief Meteorologist Randy Turner.